You're listening to Stephanie and Fox, where we aim to educate, enlighten, and evolve your intimacy.
You can find us at stephanieandfox.com to learn more about counseling, self-study courses, and retreat services that we provide.
This show contains adult content about relationships, intimacy, and sex, and is meant for those 18 years and older.
Now please, sit back, listen up, and get ready to evolve your intimacy. Thank you for tuning in tonight. My name is Stephanie. I am a sex therapist, a licensed professional counselor, and I specialize in alternative relationships.
And I am Fox. I'm a board-certified relationship and sex coach, a sexual assault victim intervention specialist, and a crisis intervention specialist. In today's show, we're going to discuss individuals and or couples that have a medical device but still have a very successful sex life and still very much enjoy sex and are still sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of you are probably thinking, well, what are we talking about medical device? Are we thinking oxygen devices? Are we thinking
pacemaker?
And other devices such as that. So a lot of people sometimes consider those with a medical device to either be handicap or different or
not sexy,
which is completely untrue.
Or actually, they consider them to not be sexual, period.
That's correct. And so we are here to kind of break that stigma, and we have a couple with us today where the wife has a medical device. I'm going to let her talk about her device. I call it an ostomy, very short medical term, and I'm going to allow her to kind of tell her story, him to kind of tell his story, and then them tell their story as a couple. But really, we want to break the stigma and really, really emphasize that a medical device does not stop somebody from having sex, having good sex, and being sexy.
Exactly.
So we're going to introduce
Stacy and Tim, and we're going to be talking about Stacy's medical device. Stacy, what do you have?
I have an ileostomy bag.
Tell me what that is.
It is a small bag that sits on my side. I have it because I had an illness as a kid, and intestinal illness, and in order to live, that was the surgery that I had to have.
In order to live. You make it sound so
matter of fact.
Matter of fact, yeah.
So it is. So casual. So matter of fact, but casual.
Yeah,
in order to live.
I mean, if I wanted to be here today, I had to get this thing.
This is true after 31 years.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like? What you say bag? Give us kind of a size range, etc.
Okay. What it started is a small opening in my abdomen that has a little bit of my small intestine that comes out. There's a bag that fits over it with a faceplate, and instead of having a bowel movement normally, it empties into that bag, and then I empty the bag.
Okay.
I wear a fairly small one. I've even worn pediatric ones just to keep it smaller. The one I have probably now is about 8 inches. Fits flat against my abdomen. Most people don't even know I have it. People in my own family don't even know that I have it. Nobody in Tim's family knows, and some of my friends don't even know. I have perfected how to hide it so that people don't look at me as, oh, there's somebody with an ostomy. They look at me for me.
How old were you when you got it?
17.
That is probably the most difficult time to have gotten a bag, an ileostomy bag, because you're developing your sense of self, you were developing your body image, as well as your sexual palate. How did that play into that?
Oh gosh, it was really hard. I went into a really deep depression after it happened because I really wasn't given a choice. I was so sick. It was either we do this surgery or you have about 2 weeks to live. And so I basically chose to die. But being 17, my parents chose differently for me, which I'm grateful for now. But at the time, it was horrible. And I went into a really deep depression. And my doctor, or my surgeon, and my mom talked a lot, and they got me involved in Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, and also the United Ostomy Association. And there I found a counselor that basically, her name was Barb, and basically she saved my life. She talked me through sex, because at that point, I wasn't a very sexual person. I was a kid, and I had been sick most of my life. So, she talked me through it, and how she dealt with it, and how she hid it, and how she told people that she was going to be intimate with about it. And I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was very supportive. It was just never an issue to him. So that helped a ton. But, Barb, she talked me through everything as I grew and matured and, became sexual and I thank God for her every day.
Counselors are a powerful entity in people's lives, especially when you're dealing with things that happen just out of nowhere and you really have no choice about it. I know. Right. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for Barb for you.
Me too. I lost her to colon cancer a few years ago, and I don't have that person to pick up that phone to anymore. And, just when I'm having a bad day or even after 31 years, I still have my bad days with it. But, it is what it is. I have my husband who's my rock, and he usually talks me down. So,
yeah. Well, it's interesting how she talked you through the sex, and she talked you through becoming sexual, I guess. So what did she tell you? Like, how did she kind of prepare you for that?
She basically just told me that this did not define me. And if somebody couldn't look at me and find me attractive or sexy with it, it was their issue, not mine. And I actually talked with her husband quite a bit too, and he helped with that as well, because, it's one thing to get a perspective of somebody that has it, but then it's different to get the perspective of the husband who, is looking at his wife, and what does he see? Well, all he saw was Barb and how much he loved her. He didn't see her for the bag that she had on her stomach or anything like that. So he was very helpful in that as well. But, it took a little while. I went through a phase where, about a year after that, where I was like, well, my boyfriend accepts it, but what if this doesn't work out, and what's it going to be like for the next time? And I went through that, and I actually broke up with him and met somebody else and told that person, and he was fine with it. And so it just kind of went from there. But we were together for 20 years after that. So I honestly didn't have to tell a lot of people until my 40s, when I was divorced and dating again. And it was the hardest thing on earth. I found myself asking people to accept it. And then when I met my current husband and everything, he was absolutely wonderful about it. And honestly, the people that I dated that I had been intimate with, there were a couple that couldn't handle it. And that was so hard, because, that rejection for anybody is horrible, but being rejected for that reason, for something I can't even control, is totally different. And, a lot of depression that goes with that, a lot of dark days with that. Did a lot of drinking, to cope. And, but it was all life lessons. And, I finally found the right one. And it's never ever been an issue. I remember the first time we were together, because I always make sure that I like wear a band over my abdomen to hold it in, and so that it's just out of the way and people don't look at it or anything like that. And I always try to wear like a nightie or something, and he's like, just take it all off, I want to see you. And that was so freeing, because I've never been like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim, when she took it all off, what were you thinking?
Oh God, this is going to end and he's going to go home.
Oh, what was I thinking?
What were you thinking? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought me.
It's okay.
Oh, I was like, yeah, I got to marry this woman.
Oh.
She was sexy. She was just sexy before she even took anything off. I just found her sexy. I found her for who she is, sexy. But, I didn't want her to feel like that she had to hide anything from me. If we're going to be intimate, if we're going to, have this relationship, then she should just be her.
Yeah.
And so, it never, when she first told me that she had it, and I had heard about what it was, but didn't really know. So of course, went to Google, looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, it's really no big deal, So then when the first time we were intimate, I just wanted her for her, and for her not to be ashamed of anything.
That's a beautiful. That's a beautiful point of view, man.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they hear ileostomy or colostomy, they usually think of old people.
Yeah.
And it could happen to anybody at any time from infant on. So it just, I would have thought about it like back then. I had worked in a nursing home, so to me, it was just like this thing that was on this, some old person, that was awful. And I didn't realize I could control what it looked like, or, or there's no odor for me, but, a lot of people did because they didn't maintain it well, or the nursing home didn't, and things like that. So, it's until somebody really sees it or experiences it, I think, they tend to think it's something for an old person.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense. So now that you have your husband, you have your rock, you've experienced some things, you've gone through some things, and this is an everyday part of your life, has your way of thinking and the way that you imagine your body changed? Has that stayed the same? What does that look like?
I didn't really come into my sexual self until my 40s. And until Tim and I got together. And so now I really look at it differently, because he does make me feel sexy, and he makes me feel wanted. And, I've really come into myself and accepted myself and my body. And I truly feel at this point in my life, if somebody doesn't like it or can't deal with it, then that's on them. Yes, absolutely. They can fuck off.
I knew you were doing something behind me.
Yeah. But some people just suck. So
yeah. Some people can't get past their own nonsense and immaturity.
Oh, absolutely.
I literally had an ex, when we were splitting up, just to be an asshole, called me bag lady. And it was just like, that was so traumatic for me. I'm like, how could you sink that low, to say something like that? But you just have to realize people suck, and you can't control what they do or what they say or what they think. And, it could have been anything. I could have lost an arm in an accident, or I could have a bad breast job, or, you know, and so this is just me. This is who I am. I've been married. I've had 2 beautiful children. You know, I'm me.
You know, it's interesting when people insult people normally, or again, we hate the word normal, but commonly it means that that person has come to realize they are losing something of value, and that is the only way they know how to respond.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. But, you know, that sealed the deal.
Yeah.
I will tell you that.
I bet.
I can imagine. You made the comment that I want to explore. You made a comment where you said, I came into my sexual being, my sexual self in my 40s.
Yes.
So obviously, you said also that it was with Tim when you guys got together.
Yes.
How did that feel for you?
Oh my God. It's honestly overwhelming sometimes. You know, things I never expected. Things I would never expect my body to do or to respond. You know, it just, oh my God. I mean, it's earth shattering. I have to be really honest. We're getting the fist bump here, but it just, you know.
Ladies, are you ready to take your intimacy to the next level? Head over to our website to find out about relationship, intimacy, and sex counseling.
And gentlemen, are you needing a little bit more? Join us at stephanieandfox.com to learn tips on how to communicate with that special someone and ignite that flame.
Now, let's get back to the show.
I never had totally ever felt so accepted in my life, and not just because of my ostomy, but for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just wonderful. I can't ever imagine my life without him. I can't imagine this journey without him. It would have, you know, in the lifestyle or whatever it is we choose to do, you know, I couldn't do it with anybody but him.
So let's kind of venture into that for just a second. So let's say that you meet somebody that you're attracted to and you're ready to play. How do you broach the topic with them?
Well, Tim and I typically, we are not a jump in the sack the first time we meet somebody kind of couple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more on me because of my ostomy.
Sure.
You know, and so for me to do this, I really tend to want to feel comfortable with somebody. So like, let's say we're at a strip club or something like that, or at a lifestyle thing. You know, we play with people, not necessarily have sex or anything like that. But if it were to happen, I always am prepared. I've always got that band on, and I'll try to wear a nightie or a dress that it comes down and comes up, and it just always is covering my stomach until I have that chance to talk with somebody and explain. But in the lifestyle, everybody that we've been with, we've like met for dinner, and and if there is a chemistry before it goes any further, or we decide we're going to play or anything, I tell them, and I don't ask them to accept me. I just explain what it is. I explain what I have, how I cover it for everybody's comfort, and especially my comfort, you know, because I just don't want to think about it while I'm doing whatever. And, you know, honestly, nobody has had an issue at all, you know, but I don't ask them to accept me. I did the first couple of times, and then I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
I don't need anybody to accept me except my husband.
Yeah, we had to talk one time after, you know, a few times where she had explained it, and we were sitting down talking about it all, and I told her, don't ask people to accept it. Just say, here it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't want her to be with someone that isn't going to accept her for her anyway.
Yeah. But, you know, for me, mentally, in the beginning of this, I still was reverting back to that 17-year-old girl that had faced some rejection and, didn't know how somebody would take it. But of course, at 17, you're dating people that have no experience with anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
In our 40s, that, they've been through things and nobody's led this perfect, healthy, wonderful life. So, they've all, had experiences where, for the most part, somebody's had some type of scar or surgery.
Yep.
Right. And just to clarify for those that are listening that aren't familiar with the lifestyle is a nickname that we give to those that are sexually open, normally or commonly non-monogamous, but it does definitely in detail so much more. It gets into kink, fetish, BDSM, hot wives, etc., more and more and more. And so I like to define it as an alternative relationship that is not the societal norm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hit on something that you said. I'm like gone full-blown counselor mode right now, because you said that your very first time when you guys were playing with other couples, that you reverted back to that 17-year-old young woman who had to face all of this rejection, and just kind of you reverted back. You had to go back in there and heal that inner child. How did you heal her to where you could be so dynamic and so powerful today?
Gosh, I've got to be honest. I don't know that I am healed. It's a trauma, to say the least, for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I had been sick for months, and, I was home being tube fed and everything before the surgery. I still have some really dark days. After all these years, but I focus on who can I help? If I can help somebody get through this, I am so happy to do that.
Yeah.
And that helps me heal me. And that's kind of why we did this, is if any woman or man out there has something that they're afraid to talk about or show themselves or share with somebody, there are other people out there that get it. And if I can help anybody feel better about themselves, absolutely, that helps me. But there's still days, but it's just part of life. I think women that have breast cancer or things like that, I'm sure they still have those scary dark days. And I don't know that I'm completely healed or that I will ever be, but I'm a whole lot better than I was 31 years ago.
Yeah.
So I have a question for the both of you that I would like for both of you to answer separately. So Stacy, you mentioned darkness. If you could kind of give us an insight on some of the tools in your tool bag that you use to combat that negative space, that darkness. And then Tim, I would like you to offer up the same answer on what do you do to help Stacy combat that as well.
Oh gosh. I honestly will tell you that music to me really helps. Like, just if I can get lost in music for a little bit, I'm great. I will sit down and I will talk to my husband and just tell him, how I'm feeling or if something's bothering me about it, and especially since we did start in the lifestyle and having to go through this every time we meet somebody, it because I have to go through that. I have to relive that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm alone, if I could get lost in music, that helps me. When I'm with Tim and he tells me and makes me feel beautiful and sexy and wanted, then I'm good. I bounce back. But I do tend to go through this when I have to tell people, even though I don't ask their acceptance anymore, I still want their acceptance.
Sure.
It's
human nature.
And yeah. So I just, that rejection is my fear. Even if I don't care, or I say I don't care, it still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've really had that with this, but
In the past,
I definitely have. So.
And then for me, when she's comes to me and she's having a bad day, the thing that I always think about is, had she not had that surgery and she would have died, I would not have her here. So I'm grateful that she has the ileostomy because it enables her to be with me. So, it's rare that she has bad days. I mean, sometimes I can tell, okay, she's having a bad day. Let's talk.
And when I have a bad day, it's like something happened that my faceplate is pulled away from my skin and I've had a leak at work, or if we're out to dinner, and I have a leak, and, I just get so pissed off because it's like, seriously, why is this happening? And it ruins, like, we have to go home and I have to get cleaned up and changed. And
to me, it's not a big deal. It's just not. It's part of her. I mean, I remember shortly after we were married, I came to her and I was telling her, show me the different parts of what you have to do. Okay. And she's like, well, I cut the faceplate here. And she asked me, why are you wanting to know this? It's like, I should know, what if you can't do it someday and I have to take care of you, so
that usually brings me to tears.
I was going to say, that's got me a little teary-eyed, or my panties dropping or something over here. I mean, that's like the best thing you can say to a woman right there.
Yeah, it like gets you in the feels,
yeah,
doesn't it?
It does.
Get you somewhere.
Wow.
But no, I mean, she is, she's my everything. So, I always tell her, and I'm very black and white, and it's either this or this. And when she goes to tell someone this, and she's like, she'll text me, should I tell them? And I'm like, again, here we go. I'm going to tell you the same thing. If they can't accept it, fuck them.
Yeah, they're not for you.
They're not for us, and I don't want you to try to, I guess you would say, impress them for us to do something. No, I don't want that. If they can't accept you, they can't accept me, and they can move on.
Right. Well, and also, it's for those that are listening that may disagree or think of this in a different way. I want you to consider this. This is a part of Stacy. No matter which way you look at it, it's similar to saliva. It's similar to urine. It's similar to cum. It's similar to any body fluid or function that a person has. So does Stacy, because she's a person. It doesn't matter that a device is used to regulate or capture or what have you. It's still the same. So if you have anal sex, hey, shit happens. If you kiss, you're going to get someone's saliva. If you squirt, you're going to get a little bit of urine somewhere other than just cum. It's going to happen. So if you don't like any of these things, you probably don't belong having sex in the first place. So
this is true.
Maybe just go masturbate. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. Well, anal's definitely out of the picture for me. So I'm, that ship has sailed. So.
Well, okay, I'm going to switch gears just a touch. Let's say, and we're going to theorize that you guys, we've talked, we've accepted you, now we're ready to play, right? Okay, so I know.
I'm always ready to play.
I know you're always ready to play.
Okay, I just want to put.
But
I'm slutty selective.
So I know that the sex is going to look a little bit different. It's going to look different with everybody individually anyway, but it might look a little bit different with you. talk to me about what I can possibly expect. Is there positions you can't do? Are there things that are off limits? Okay, she's shaking her head no, so all right.
No. In fact, honestly, I think it's made me a little bit more wicked, because I don't ever want that to stop me from doing anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we've got to be a little aware of it so that it doesn't get ripped off.
That's, yeah.
You know, because that's a real mood killer. But I don't. There's nothing.
Yeah, other than anal.
Yeah, that's just because that area has been closed up after surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there is nothing I can't do. But I will tell you that area is super sensitive.
Very sensitive.
In a bad way or a good way?
Sexual way?
Oh, in a
or-
good way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing off limits.
No.
Other than that. I mean, simply because physically she can't.
Right.
Right.
Sure. And I would imagine when I heard you say earlier that you wore the band, I mean, I would imagine that's just as much for safety as it is for your own comfort, because if that gets ripped off, like you said, that's a major buzzkill. But also, I mean, if it gets ripped off, I'm sure that doesn't feel too good for you. So
No.
I would,
You know, in the beginning, when I first had sex with it, you know, when I'm 17, 18 years old, I wore a band then, just because I didn't know what to do with it, you know. And Barb's like, hey, try this, and, you know, try wearing some type of a band or something to hold it in, or there's cute little like cloth covers with leopard print or whatever that you could put on. But I just wanted it intact so I didn't have a problem.
mm-hmm.
You know, Tim and I mean, from the very first time we had sex, I mean, we knew each other's bodies. It was the craziest thing. But in the lifestyle, if we're going to be with other people, I wear that band, whether I wear a nightie or not. I wear that band just to keep it, you know, because I don't want people to have to worry about being aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tim knows me.
Mm-hmm.
Other people don't,
Sure.
you know, at that intimate time.
But I've seen her. She has a flesh color band, and if you're in a dark bedroom, you can't even really tell she has it on.
Right.
Right.
You know.
I was going to
So,
say they make canvas bands that you can bring to a tattoo artist, and they can tattoo it and make it almost morph into your body.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I might have to go to my tattoo guy and see if he can do that. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, we've just not had any issues with the people that we've played with. I mean, even one person or one couple that we played with, I remember we were just kind of messing around and he started undressing me and I hadn't prepared yet, you know, and he's like, it's okay, it's all right. And I mean, I had almost a full-blown panic attack because he was going to see everything and he did not care in the least. It was just me.
And I'm sure that helps you with your self-confidence, but also your self-acceptance. Like, people just want you. They don't care about what is attached to you. They want you because you're fun, you're beautiful, you're vivacious, all of that, not because you have something stuck to your side.
Exactly. I try. I mean, I try just to not worry about it, but, you know, it's hard. Can I tell you a quick story?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So a few weeks ago, there's a club near us. We live near St. Louis. And we went to this club and it was, it's like a strip club, but then they have private areas for swingers events and things like that. And there was a guy there and he had a wedding band on, and he's trying to talk to me and get my attention. And I noticed his ring and I asked, you know, because Tim and I don't play separately. We only play together. I'm like, where is your wife? And he said to me that she was at home, and I asked, I said, well, does she know you're here? And, you know, he hawed around and didn't want to really answer me. So that told me, no, she didn't know. But he proceeds to tell me that his wife is recovering from breast cancer and that she's had a breast augmentation that is jacked up, and like one breast is up and one is down. And he goes, and she just disgusts me and I can't be with her.
Oh, well.
Wow.
And scene.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was devastated for her that she's married to such a prick, number one. Number two, I'm thinking, oh my God, well, if he can't handle that and his wife having breast cancer, he could never handle anything else. But I mean, he was just so creepy that we actually did talk to the security people after that, and they have contacted him and told him to never come back. Mm-hmm. So I, you know, and I did tell the security person my story, you know, because like they were kind of urging us to get undressed and everything. And I'm like, I don't do that in public, you know, not just randomly rip my clothes off, you know. And I explained why, and I don't know why I told him, but I did, because I didn't want to get pushed to do something I wasn't comfortable with. But then when I explained what I had and what this guy had said, you know, they contacted him, told him, don't ever come back. You're not welcome at our events. Wonderful. So I thought that was pretty cool, you know.
That's awesome.
How did you guys meet?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking and I don't know your story. Tell me your story.
I work for a physician, or I work in the medical field. I've been a medical assistant forever. And
I work for one of the major shipping companies. I deliver packages.
Mm-hmm. You deliver packages. What kind of packages do you deliver, sir?
Deliver your package or packages?
Well, you know. But you know, I had known Stacy for a while because I had delivered to her doctor's office. And we had chatted a few times, but that was about it. And then I was going through a divorce. She was going through a divorce. And we started chatting about that. And it was, hey, you want to go out for drinks and talk about our divorces, I guess. You know what I mean? Because we had kind of become friends and everything. And then it just kind of led from there.
So walk us through, okay, so you guys met. Obviously, it works out. You're married now.
Obviously, yeah.
Walk us through the first time you started talking about the lifestyle, what that conversation looked like, and what did that conversation look like with your device?
Well, yeah.
Well, it started on the day, it was a Sunday morning, and we were laying in bed watching TV, and that show Botched came on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're watching it, and this lady was on there, and Stacy commented on her breasts, and I was like, yeah, I agree, she has really nice breasts. And so we just started talking, and
it started about fantasies.
So we started talking about fantasies. We forgot about the show totally. And so I had never been to a strip club. I was 40.
Oh gosh, what were you, 43?
42, 43.
Something like that.
Yeah, 43. I had never been to a strip club. So she said, I'm going to take you to a strip club. So we get to the strip club, and they have the adult, the couples only area up there. So we went up there.
Had no clue, seriously, what we were doing.
Right. And so we went in there and saw people sitting there having sex. And so, of course, you know, when you see people having sex, that kind of turns you on. So we started playing around and had sex in front of all these people. And
yeah, I had fortunately dressed properly that I had a dress I could pull down and up, and so we did it right there. We had quite the audience too. Yeah.
So then we get home and we're talking, and it's like, hey, did you notice that guy was looking at you? And while we were, having some fun. And did you notice this couple off to the left was looking at us while we're having fun? And both of them were kind of giving us that eye, like, hey, come join us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started talking about, well, what do you think it would be like to be with another couple?
Oh, what would it be like to be with a woman? I mean, I didn't even I've been pretty sheltered. So, I always had curiosities about, being with women. I didn't even think about being with other men, but I kind of all went from there.
Yeah. And so then we went back and started, we did that a few times, and then we started talking, hey, what do you think about making a profile? There's some sites out there we can make a profile, and let's just see what happens. Yeah. And so we did, and then
we started making friends, and started kind of going to dinner, and we met a couple that was new in the lifestyle as well. That was our first experience, and it was a complete train wreck. Like, absolute fucking nightmare is the only way I could truly put it. But it was where we started, and then it was like, we started to talk about what we really were looking for.
The funny part about that first experience, we were driving home. It was probably 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And we were riding in silence for the longest time. And I broke the silence and looked at her and said, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And she's like, I know, right? And so we had decided, hey, if this is what the lifestyle is all about, we're done. Yeah, we're done, because that was awful. It was pretty awful.
So what was your first positive experience?
You know what? We met a couple, and we hung out with them for a while, and we had been with them a couple of times, and it was not a great experience either. It's so hard to find 4 people that mesh physically.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it's hard to find 4 people when the people that you're talking with oversell themselves.
Yeah.
And then you get down to it, and it's like, the picture that you sent us, that is not him.
Yeah. That might have been him 20 years ago, but let's today, that's not him.
Yeah.
Well, it probably wasn't him ever.
I think it was somebody else.
It was someone else with the wife, and that was the picture they sent saying, hey, this is me and my husband.
Yeah.
And so, but that's not the biggest deal. It was just
like,
I
think they had more of an open marriage.
Yeah.
Where they wanted to date people separately. They didn't like having to be together, and that's fine, to each their own. But tell us that, so that we don't invest in something that's not going to work out. But actually, we went to a party. They had a party at their house, and we met another couple, and we met up with them, and it was pretty good.
Was this the pool party?
No, that was our very, very first time even just...
I tend to try to even put that one out of my mind.
Yeah, but we actually talked about that this weekend.
Yeah, I guess.
When we went to that...
So tell us about the pool party now. I have some insight, but Fox is looking at me like I'm crazy.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, we went to this
We went to a meet and greet.
Oh, sorry. Went to this meet and greet, and we were there for about a half hour, and there was 4 different couples there. 3 different.
Well, there were a lot of couples.
Okay, there were a lot of couples, but at this table there were 2
couples. Remember? And then we picked up another couple at a bar.
So they asked us to come over and sit at their table. So we're talking, and then it was, hey, we're going to a pool party over to this this guy's house. Let's all go. So we haven't done anything with anyone at that point. So we didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
But it was
eye-opening.
It was eye-opening because I think the worst part about it is we got separated. And when we left that, I wasn't feeling so good about it because we had gotten separated, because our one rule was, listen, we just stay together. But we ended up getting separated and we're with other people. And so, but we had talked about that actually on Sunday, and where I'm at now is so much further away than where I was then. You just kind of grow. And had I known then what I know now, I don't think it wouldn't have bothered me.
Yeah.
We were still together.
There was a lot. I mean, there's in the beginning, and even now, just speaking for myself, there is some jealousy, because it's just, it's hard. Sometimes, it's just like, I think to myself, oh man, is he enjoying her more than he enjoys me? Or, I'm way better now than I was then. But that pool party where we got separated and saw each other enjoying people, it caused a lot of issues. But
it also did something very positive for you, Miss Stacy, because
yes, it did.
You dropped your clothes in front of everybody and didn't give a shit and got in that pool.
You're right. And I did have a band on because I'd worn a lace band over it. And I don't know why I even did that, because we didn't expect to play or anything. But I'm so glad I did, because that's what I jumped in that pool with. And my band came off.
Perfect.
Because it rolled up with the water.
Yep.
And, I was like, well, I'm in the pool. So, and everybody was fine. So,
and I chalk that up as something so positive for you, because that was the first time, that was your debut into the lifestyle. You got naked in your debut, and everybody accepted you. How amazing.
I did. And it was hard it was really hard for Tim, and because I did enjoy myself, and I kept explaining, I just got so caught up in being naked and free and not giving a shit about anything or who thought what, that I really did get lost in that moment. And
isn't that what this is about? It's about getting lost in the moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
True.
And so we know, and
we know that now.
We know that now. You can think about how hot it would be, and then when it actually happens, it's like, holy shit, this isn't what I expected. But now it's like, well, after that whole thing, it's like, well, okay, game on. I always tell her, if you're going to do this, you enjoy it to the fullest.
Right.
If you're not going to enjoy it to the fullest, there's no point in even doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We've come a long way with that, and just, trying to connect when we're in the same room, and we're always in the same room, but, making sure that we do connect, and,
the hand signals.
The safe words, the get me the hell out of here signals. Yeah.
We talk a lot about just getting lost in our sexuality in the moment. I've been trying to, even with what we do, Stephanie sometimes, is...
I don't get lost in the moment. I'm right there.
Right.
I can't. I'm so self-conscious and struggle with it.
She struggles with it constantly, where I just get lost in it all and just allow my sexuality to take over, and that's what I'm trying to build in her. But our love language is a little different. My encouragement with her is behavioral based and action based, where she needs more verbal affirmation. And that's something I'm trying to learn to do for her as well, because I'm not a very verbal affirming guy, because I don't really believe in words. I believe in actions and behaviors are more powerful. But that's just because that's how I was brought up, and that's my experience and my filters in life, and not hers.
I get that completely. It's hard, even if it's just for him to reach over or me to reach over and touch him or grab his hand, or us to say something to each other, just so that we have that connection during it. Mm. So, I don't ever want to forget my husband's there, and I don't want him to forget that I'm there. And that night of the pool party, you know, I did get lost in that, and I knew he was there, and I knew I was safe. I just was in awe that I had even allowed myself to go down that path. So,
but it was all a part of growing.
Yeah.
And we are so much further down that road now than where we were.
Yeah. I mean, we were in it for about 9 months, and then we took a break. But I mean, everything happened with COVID, and then now we're just
since April,
yeah. March or April, we've kind of gotten back into it, and we've met some really neat people. And
so now that you have some experience behind you, is there anything fantasy-wise that you want to fulfill? And if the list is long, what's at the very top?
Tim, I'm gonna let you start that one. Yeah.
I saw Tim rubbing his hands like,
and Stacy turned red. So reading the body cues, this still could be a good one.
Look, I listened to your podcast, so I warned her.
Yeah.
We're gonna have these questions.
Oh, honey, please go first.
Okay, but you're gonna have to go second.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So, I personally would love a threesome. Whether it be Stacy and another woman, or Stacy, me, and another man. I think that would be hot. I would love one day to go to Desire.
Yeah.
That is one of the things we would love to do.
To be that comfortable to go there.
Comfortable to go. Yeah. Geez, it's like, what haven't we done?
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, hon? What are your fantasies?
Well, I'm gonna give Stacy a little bit more breathing room, and I'm gonna ask you. So, you mentioned Desire. What about Desire piques your interest? Because I have been to Hedo, Desire, and Temptation, all of them, and so I might have some insight for you if you want to kind of tell me what you guys are looking for.
We would love to just go for a week, just to be there around other couples that are like-minded couples.
Yeah.
And
not worry about who's going to see us or who could, catch us, or like I about died the other day. We went to a club. We got invited to a private party at a club, and there's a girl I went to high school with there. I went to her first wedding, and I was just like, I wanted to crawl under a table just because I was just like, oh shit, she's going to out us. But then again, I doubt it. She would, because she probably doesn't want outed either.
Exactly.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just, I've read up on it, all the different events that they have, just the different types of, people, just the people from all over the United States. That you get to meet. I just think it would be so much fun to go and experience.
So I'm going to interrupt, and I'm going to tell you that I want you to go and read my experience from Hedo, Stacy. I don't know if you've read it. We have it. It's on our website, stephanieandfox.com, and I want you to really understand, from my point of view, from a very, I don't know, I wouldn't call myself conservative, but just a very shy person who had never really been naked in front of the entire world before, and how I was able to transform at Hedo. I don't think I would have been able to do that anywhere else, at Desire or even at Temptations, because of the environment that they provide. I think that I was able to flourish so much at Hedo because it is literally an adult playground, and there's no rules. The only rule is that you are safe. You don't go in the ocean at night because they don't like that.
And no means no.
No means no. And also, you have to wear some sort of clothing to dinner because, hygienically that might be a little... But
yeah.
So other than that, I mean, there's really nothing. And there was people our age. We didn't have to compete with a bunch of young people. I mean...
Well, there were people of all ages.
There were people of all ages.
all ages.
But it wasn't just centered on young people.
Right.
Young, and there was bodies, big bodies, little bodies, skinny bodies, scarred bodies, white bodies, tan bodies. And I loved every minute of it.
Oh, cool. I can't wait to read that. Yeah, I mean, I think if I could I mean, my ultimate goal in life is just to ever be comfortable enough in my own skin to do something like that. I mean, I was okay with like 8 people. I mean, that took a whole lot for me. I can't imagine like 800, you know?
No, well, so Desire and Temptation hold those kind of numbers. Hedo does not hold those larger numbers. It's a more smaller, intimate community. It's truly a hedonistic way of life where everything is accepted as long as no one's in danger and you are respecting everyone around you. Anything and everything goes. And like Stephanie said, I mean, there was a guy with oxygen. You know, it's not like people are sitting there making fun of him or anything. They're talking to him like, hey, so if we have sex, do we dump the tank? Do we leave it in? Like, what, you know, what does that look like? And it's just a very open platform and very accepting, all in all.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's a great thing because if you think about, you know, I mean, anybody could have a pacemaker. You just have to make allowances, you know, for people with something different. I mean, just to keep them safe, health-wise.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but I think a part of my struggle with the lifestyle, I do have fun, but I am a victim of sexual assault when I was younger. And so for that reason, that does scare me about somebody not taking no for no.
Right.
And I think, and that's why I always want Tim within, you know, arm's reach, just so I know that I'm safe there.
Right. Well, and
so
I can tell you that at Hedo specifically, security is everywhere in multitudes, and they pay attention to every little detail, and they will stop something immediately if they feel it's going against the grain of how that environment is supposed to be, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds wonderful.
Not to take away from any of the other resorts, because each resort has its positivity, you know, like, and this is just from my point of view and my experience. Temptation is more for spring break, the party crowd. It's topless, but you can't do anything else. It's more for the youthful. But if you like that type of thing, then that's absolutely for you. Desire is kind of a mix. It's in the middle, but there's a lot of restrictions and things you can't do, and the price cost is definitely a lot higher. And then there's Hedo, which is, again, just a hedonistic, very safe place to be. So we tend to advise people go to Hedo first and then branch out to the rest and make your determination. But again, that's just from our personal experience and our point of view.
I like that, though. I mean,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I would prefer something more or smaller and less people, but that sounds great. I'll have to read up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we also on the website, we have a page dedicated to Hedo because we believe in their message and their ethos so much. So you can get all the details on there as well if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up, I want you to quickly tell me one thing that you want someone who's thinking about entering the lifestyle with an ileostomy or even with any kind of medical device. What do you want them to know about this, and how do you want them to proceed?
I will say in the lifestyle, the people that we have met have truly been the most accepting people. And I think they should proceed and just get to know somebody, especially in the beginning. Get to, you know, find somebody you're comfortable with. You know, tell them your story. And again, if they can't handle it, then they're not for you at any time, whether it's in the beginning or if you've been in it 10 years. But I think it has been a good experience for me in the body positivity sense. Because there are all shapes and sizes, and you know,
scars
and pacemakers and I mean, we actually were with a couple that the guy had a pacemaker, and he didn't tell me ahead of time, and then I was scared I was going to kill him. So I was just like, that would have been good to know, you know?
I guess probably the one thing that I would say is whatever it is, whatever scar, whatever affliction, whatever device, whatever, anything that makes you feel different, that does not define who you are as a person.
You should own it. I mean, trust me, what does not kill you does make you stronger. And that did, you know. I think it prepared me for a lot of life lessons and hardships, and
it's made you it's made you blossom.
You know, it does, but it doesn't, like, I'm not that, oh, hey, there's that girl with the ostomy, or that woman with the ostomy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm Stacy.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think, you know, and I would be happy, like, if anybody were to contact me and say, you know, talk me through this a little bit, you know, I would love to help somebody if
how can they find you?
Fear. That's a really good question. Maybe if they reach out to you, you can put us in touch.
I can do that. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I am happy with that. I'm more than happy to help anybody. You know, honestly, it prepared me. I think at such a young age, my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 5. And I think if I didn't know things about medical, and, you know, because I went into the medical field after that to help people. And I think that really prepared me to handle what he was going to go through. Mm-hmm. So it does make you, I mean, you have to puff your chest out and put up with a lot of shit in life. And that does help.
Wonderful. Well, guys, I thank you for sharing your story. I know that it's a beautiful story, and I feel it is such an important message to be told, because I don't want people sitting out there and not living their best life and being hedonistic just because of a device, a medical device, or ileostomy, or whatever they have. I want them to embrace their inner sexy, their outer sexy, and just go have fun and have sex.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think to me, sexy is an attitude.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can be 110 pounds or you can be 400 pounds, but sexy truly is an attitude. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage anybody to at least try, you know, I mean, whatever their dream or desire is, to try to fulfill it. Don't let something like that you can't control stop you from living life.
Yeah, I agree.
That's great advice.
Well, as we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners to check out our new website, stephanieandfox.com. And also, we have the Ask Stephanie on there. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me through that. We have all of our blogs on there. We have podcasts. Any of our free resources can be found on our new website. I guess any and all. As well as you can hook up with us on the social media sites. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And you can just hook up with me because you feel like it. I'm good with that. But I am picky. I'm telling you, slutty but picky.
Oh, wow.
Well, slutty selective. That's what I call it.
All right. Well, guys, again, I thank you. And, let's get off this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right, guys. Bye. Thank you for listening to our show. And remember, you are not in this alone, and we are here to help.
You can check us out at stephanieandfox.com and subscribe to all of our social media accounts to get free resources about evolving your intimacy.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.